Good morning, students. Welcome to the income tax class. Previous class, we discussed what is business and what is profession and what is depreciation, and we solved the problem also. And I gave one problem for homework itself. So next, the important concept is admissible or allowable expenses. These concepts are very important while solving the problem. So admissible expenses. So admissible expenses in the sense it's a business expenses which are allowed under the act. Such expenses not debited to profit and loss account by the assessee, they should be deducted from the net profit. If in case any admissible expenses given in the problem, we should be deducted from the net profit. If in case same as usual, profit and loss account so debit side is given, credit side is given. So if in case any net profit is given in problem, usually net profit will be given. From that net profit we should be deducted from net profit. So we need to deduct from the net profit. Allowable expenses, for example, some expenses I given here. So first one, advertisement expenses. Advertisement expenses given in magazines or souvenir of political party is inadmissible. If in case any advertisement expenses related to the business is admissible. If in case any donations, for example, survivor of political party, that type of expenses is given in the problem, that will be the inadmissible. Next, second one, audit fees. Audit fees is admissible expenses. Next one, bank commission. Any bank commission is received, any bank commission is paid to any other institution, that is admissible expenses. Next one, bad debts. Bad debts also admissible. Next, bank cash transaction tax, contribution towards rural development program. Next, depreciation is allowable. If in case depreciation given as per the income tax rules, it is allowable depreciation. If in case any depreciation as per book profit, we need to add it to the net profit. That will discuss in the problem. Next, establishment expenses, allowable expenses. Next, entertainment expenses. Next, expenditure on scientific research. So any expenses is given on scientific research, that is if in case revenue expenses or if in case capital expenses, whether it is a revenue or capital, both expenses is allowable expenses. Next one, we come to know about inadmissible expenses. Now you know the admissible expenses. Admissible expenses is given in the problem. We must and should deducted from the net profit. We need to deduct from the net profit. Next one, next concept is inadmissible or disallowable expenses. In both names we will call it. So inadmissible expenses are those expenses which are not allowed under the act. So here the income tax act, that is not allowed. If such expenses is debited to profit and loss account by the assessee, they should be added back to the net profit. Here admissible expenses we should be deducted, but in case of inadmissible expenses we should be added back to the net profit. The following are the some example. Let's see that examples. So first one, family planning expenses. If any expenses given to the employees on the basis of family planning expenses, that we should be added back to the net profit. Why? Because that is a inadmissible expenses. Next one, fines and penalties, that is also inadmissible expenses. Next, fringe benefit tax, that is also inadmissible expenses. Interest on capital. So if in case interest on capital is given, up to 12% is exempted. Up to 12% is exempted. Above 12% we need to calculate the tax. That we'll discuss in the problems. Later we will discuss. Next, illegal expenses. Any illegal expenses is given in the problem, that is also inadmissible expenses. Next, legal expenses to acquire a title. If in case a purchase of any building, land and etc., that should be added to the we should consider as a inadmissible expenses. That is also, if in case legal expenses also inadmissible. Next, loss from discontinued business. If in case any loss arises from the discontinued business, that is also inadmissible. Next, GST, local tax, custom duty paid. if in case any GST, local tax, custom duty paid is given in the problem, we should be added back to the net profit. Next one, any business expenses paid in cash exceeding rupees 10,000, 100% of such payment is inadmissible. If in case any cash expenses given on the base of cash exceeding rupees 10,000, for example, that is business expenses also. So if in case exceeding 10,000, that is 100% of such payment is inadmissible. So entire amount we will treat it as a inadmissible expenses. Next one, speculation loss. Any speculation loss is given in the problem, that is also inadmissible. Next, bad debts still recoverable. If in case bad debts is still recoverable or work in progress, that is also inadmissible. Next one, unappeared or unrecognized contribution. For example, any contribution or any unrecognized contribution is given in the problem, that is also inadmissible expenses. These 12 are inadmissible expenses. So once again, you go through. Next one, business income. So business income is an income which is related to the business. If in case any business is given in the problem, we should be added to the business income. Why? Because it should be business income, right? So we should add it to the net profit. For example, net profit is given in the problem, so we need to add it to the net profit. Any business income is given in the problem, we should be added to the net profit. So for example, some of the examples are given below. So first one, rent received from employees. Any rent is received from the employees, that is business income, right? So if the employees stayed in the business houses, so that is business income. Next one, interest from debtors for delayed payments. If in case any interest is received for delayed payments, that is also business income. Next one, profit on sale of import license. If in case any license is sold on the for profit, so that is also business expenses. Next one, commission, discount received or rent received is given on credit side of profit and loss account. Any business income, that should be added to the net profit. Next one, bad debts recovered but allowed earlier. If in case this type of transaction is given, so this is also added back to the net profit. Next, amount of liability forgone by the creditor. For example, we need to pay amount to the creditor, but they are forgot our amount. That should be income, right? Income for the business. So that is added to the net profit. Next one, speculation income. So speculation income also, if in case speculation income is given in the problem, we should be added to the net profit. Next, cash assistance received. If in case any cash assistance is received, we should be added to the business income, or sorry, net profit. So next one, tax-free incomes. So already you know tax-free incomes, we discussed in first chapter clearly. That is exempted incomes, no? So that if in case any exempted incomes or tax-free incomes is given in the problem, we must and should be deducted in the net profit. So net profit is given in the problem. So for example, net profit is given. So from that net profit, we will deduct the tax-free incomes. First one, dividend from an Indian company. So if in case dividend from an Indian company is exempted, so if that type of income is given in the problem, we will be deduct. Next, Dharmada, a mandir or Gurushala receipt. Dharmada in the sense, for example, we will donate to the temples, no? So that expenses we will be call it as a Dharmada expenses. Mandir, Gurshal. So all the expenses are tax-free incomes. Next, refund from LIC. So any refund is arrived from the LIC, that is also tax-free income. Next one, withdrawal from public provident fund, PPF. So if in case that type of transaction is given below, that is also tax-free income. Next, interest from post office savings bank account. So interest from post office savings bank account also tax-free income. Next, income tax refund. Next, agricultural income. Next, bad debts recovered but disallowed earlier. These are the incomes are tax-free incomes or exempted incomes. So you already know the in first chapter. So I gave one notes, no? if you are getting doubt, go through that notes, especially B school and BBA. So if you are getting any doubt, once again you go through that notes. Why? Because it's all we discussed in the first chapter. Next one, format for computation of taxable income from business. Taxable income from business. So first, as usual, particulars amount. So net profit as per profit and loss account. So any net profit is given in the problem, whether it is a net profit or net loss given in the problem, so that will be considered. Next, add inadmissible expenses. So here we discussed inadmissible expenses. Any inadmissible expenses is given, we should be added. So inadmissible expenses given in the problem, we should be added. Inadmissible expenses debited to profit and loss account given in the problem, we should be added. Next, business income not credited to profit and loss account. So we already discussed it. Business income is given but not credited to profit and loss account, that should be added to the net profit. Next, overvaluation of opening stock. So for example, 10,000 is given in the problem. That should be 10% of overvaluation. Overvaluation nothing but, so it's above the cost, right? So we will be considered, for example, 10% is given. So 110 divided by 100 we should be considered. Why? Because why here 110 is considered? It's a overvalue. Overvalue is nothing but it's a overvaluation of cost over the cost. So next, undervaluation. For example, 10% of undervaluation in the sense 90 divided by 100 is considered here. So these are all the items we will discuss in the problem, clearly discuss in the problem. Next, notional loss. Notional loss nothing but it's a loss arises any way, any unexpected way, that is notional loss. So these are the expenses we should add it to the net profit. Next, admissible expenses not debited to profit and loss account. So these are the 5 items we should add. Next, these are the some expenses we should deduct from the net profit. Admissible expenses not debited to profit and loss account. Here we clearly discussed about admissible expenses, right? See, deducted. So we should, any admissible expenses is given in the problem, we should be deducted. Next one, tax-free incomes credited to profit and loss account. Tax-free incomes we already discussed, tax-free incomes are exempted incomes given in the problem, we should be deduct. Next, non-business income credited to profit and loss account. For example, non-business income in the sense, here they will give income from house property. So if in case income from house property is related non-business, right? Non-business income is given, so we will be deducted. If in case income from salary, so that is this is also non-business income, right? This type of incomes is given in the problem, we should be deducted. Next, undervaluation of opening stock. So vice versa. Here overvaluation of opening stock and undervaluation of closing stock. Here undervaluation of opening stock, overvaluation of closing stock, vice versa. So next one, notional profit. Notional profit is nothing but it's unexpected profit arises from certain activities. So that is any these items given in the problem, 6 items, we will deduct from the net profit. Finally, we will arrive at the income from business. This is the case. Once again, go through these items. Why? Because they will ask for 2 marks. Mention any 4 tax-free incomes. So at that time, you need to know these expenses. Next, mention any 4 inadmissible expenses. You need to know the inadmissible expenses. Next, they can ask what is admissible expenses. Mention any 2 admissible expenses. At that time, you need to know the expenses. Once again, go through the video. If you are getting any doubt, contact me. This is the format for computation of income from business.